story focuses on Edwin Murray, a robotics engineer whose inventive nature began at a young age. At around 4 years old, Edwin had begun taking apart his mother's small appliances to see how they worked, even though they usually didn't work when he put them back together. I guess it was difficult to put the pieces together. Luckily, his mother tolerated frequently replacing things Edwin broke. By the time he was 8, he knew he wanted to make inventions that would improve people's lives, doing the most mundane tasks and chores people didn't enjoy. In college, he got his first patent on a robotic vacuum cleaner. It was expensive and buggy, but sold well enough, allowing Edwin to begin his business right out of school in the early 70s. This vacuum has a minor cameo in the racing game 5 Laps at Freddy's, where it appears on a billboard on the Midnight Motorist track, and its designs share some similarities to Mr. Hugs. The vacuum funded a good life for Edwin and his wife, Fiona, who met at school and married as soon as they graduated. Eventually, the vacuum sales fell off since they didn't last as long as customers expected. Edwin and Fiona were still able to purchase an abandoned factory in the industrial part of town on the edge of a 4-way highway. This is where Edwin would house his business. And they also purchased the old Queen Anne mansion, which they planned on restoring to its former glory. These plans were derailed when Fiona died during childbirth, leaving Edwin with his noisy baby, David. He spent the following weeks trying to function on an hour or two of sleep. Instead of fixing his vacuums or making a new invention, Edwin had to take care of David. He loved his son, but without Fiona, he couldn't handle everything. Around 2.5 years later, Edwin's finances ran dry, leaving him with no choice but to sell his company out to Fazbear Enterprises. Grant Starling, the Fazbear Entertainment executive responsible for negotiating the buyout, told him he was doing the right thing, even though Edwin didn't think so. He became trapped in a life he didn't want to live, turning the costumes Fazbear Entertainment sent him into robots, which he didn't think were useful. Now it's important to note this story takes place sometime in the 70s, likely before 1979, since it seems like that's when the upcoming game Secret of the Mimic happens, which occurs after this story. More on that later. Edwin didn't have time to take care of David and make all of Fazbear's animatronics. For example, David accidentally knocks over and damages a metal chicken head. Edwin decides he needs a nap. He notes how remarkably big he is for his age, and how the 5'5" Edwin won't be able to carry him around forever. He takes David to his bedroom in the building. After Fiona's death, he only kept the factory and converted its offices into a small apartment with a compact sitting area, a tiny kitchen, 1 bathroom, and 1 bedroom. The interior brick and white walls were decorated with David's art and old photographs Edwin found in the factory. David and Edwin shared a bedroom so he could keep an eye on him, but most of the time, he worked on the factory's main floor and David slept in a cot nearby.